up, everybody? I'm Sal Kalani. This is Reggie Steele. And welcome to Spitballin. Spitballin.
What's up, everybody? I'm Sal Kalani. This is Reggie Steele.
And welcome to Spitballin. Yo, let's get it. I'm excited about today's episode. Or it's about today's show.
Huh? Here, I got a little audio from Mr. Mahomes.
About Mahomes, Joe Burrow's?
Patrick Mahomes' father.
Cigar your own, I see. Yeah, I'm smoking the Joe Burrow. You smoking on the Joe Burrow? I'm smoking on the Joe Burrow.
I'm smoking on the Joe Burrow.
Dude, I saw a highlight of the father up in the box, and they were like, Pat Mahomes' dad lights up a cigar, and he was sitting there. It took like 5 minutes. I was like,
it takes a minute, dog.
I was like, somebody need to edit this. I'm like, this is taking way too long to see this dude light up a cigar. And then he looked at it, he was like, all right, that's the right end. That's the right end. It's supposed to be on fire. Let's see.
So yeah, there it is. Like I said, buddy, Chiefs, Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's
what
it is.
I had no dog in this race, right? Obviously, but I was going for San Francisco because I live, it's a city.
They got their asses kicked. Sorry, Niner fans. Here's my problem.
Come on.
Here's the problem with the Niners.
No,
well, I had Kevin Monroe over yesterday.
Nope,
he's a big Niners fan.
I will not let you do this. I will not let you
do what?
Do this, because let's just be honest, man. Check it out. This is what happened. The San Francisco 49ers lost their starting quarterback.
Yeah, but they were getting crushed before that.
And then they lost their second string, their backup quarterback.
No, he's bad, Josh Johnson.
Right. And then they had to go to their third string, which was Brock Purdy, who rolled off nine, got him to the NFC Championship game, right? And then in the NFC Championship game, the dude hurts his elbow. He's out. So then they got to go to their fourth string quarterback.
Yeah, no, that's football, baby. They got smoked.
Hold up. And then the fourth string quarterback gets a concussion and gets knocked out.
They had to go back to the injured guy.
They had to go back to the injured guy who then couldn't go. So then they had to go to their emergency quarterback, Christian Johnson.
That Brock Purdy.
Dude. For them to make it that far and do as well.
Here's the bottom line, though: the Eagles, no matter what,
to the Niners,
the Eagles are the best team I feel in the league, and it's not even close. And so I don't think it matters, Chiefs or Bengals. The Eagles going to win it all. Yesterday, I was hanging out with Greg Edwards and Kevin Monroe, and after the Eagles' victory, Kevin Shea texted me a picture of his balls. So then I just looked over at Greg and Kevin. I was like, "Oh, hey, look what Shay just texted me." And they both looked, and they're like, "Just show us that." I was like, "Hey, I had to suffer it. So do you."
That's terrible.
I'm not going to suffer in silence.
That's terrible. It's like, oh, this smells awful. Smell this. Oh, this tastes terrible. You should try this. Like,
I didn't say awful. I was like, just look at this.
Yeah. Well, now going forward, I'm kind of torn because I like Pat Mahomes just because I like the trajectory of his career and I like what he's been able to do. I would love to see him get a second one because this will be his third visit to the big game. But I'm also a big fan of Jalen Hurts. Kid who went to Alabama.
He hasn't had one yet.
He hasn't had one yet, but he went to Alabama and then he lost his starting job to Tua, right? And then he left Alabama, went to Oklahoma, and then became like a Heisman candidate, right? Mm-hmm. And then gets drafted and he's having a phenomenal career. He's one of those guys. I think he's a great story of perseverance and believing in yourself and just like,
well, that's a funny thing because last year Shay was texting me like, Hurts sucks. He's not, I don't believe it up. And then in week 8 this year, I'm like, you still think, I sent him a screenshot of that. You still thinking this?
Yeah, that's fans. It's all the fans out there who are like, who live and die by the headlines or each game. It's like, yo, man, the kid is nice, man. The kid has been proven. He's a proven winner on every level. Everywhere that he's gone, the guy is proven to be a winner. So,
all right, Super Bowl in 2 weeks. We got a guest today, Reg. So let's get into it. We got a great guest. I'm really excited. Tell us about your guest, and then I'll let him in whenever. Give me the nod, and I'll let him in.
Okay. Real quick, shout out to Greg Edwards. who's infamously known for saying, "Come on, Reg, you all shoulders, you all shoulders, you all shoulders." Yeah, man, I'm excited about today's guest. He's a friend of mine. He is an author, accomplished author. He's a clinical therapist, and he's also a black belt in Kajukenbo, a martial art form. So this dude can literally, he can either help you or kick your ass and then write a book about it. Please welcome to the show, Ayize Jama-Everett.
No, sorry, I lost you
for
miss
a
all
second.
of that? My sound went out. I don't know. It's recording, but I missed it. My headphones went out. So I think it all worked, maybe, but
Oh, man.
Welcome to our very professional podcast.
The first thing I told Ayize last night, I said, "Hey man, just want to let you know we are mom and pop." We're a mom and pop shop, man. We're just getting started.
I've seen you guys though. I've seen you on YouTube a little bit.
Okay.
Cool.
I see how it goes, you know.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
Thank you. Well, welcome, man. How are you this morning?
You got me awake, and I really appreciate that because I got stuff to do, but nothing else on the calendar. I was gonna stay in bed, but I'm like, nope, I'm up. I'm ready to go. So I appreciate it.
Man. Well, I appreciate it. Just for our audience, so our audience knows, Ayize just came back from New Mexico. I'm assuming Albuquerque or Santa Fe. Just came back from New Mexico, and so he's a little tired, and so we appreciate you taking the time this morning. We won't keep you all day, but we're excited to have you here, man. Just want to talk to you about a couple things.
I'm get to hang out with some funny guys. I want to hang out.
Okay.
Do this all the time. You know?
That's glad to hear you up for it, man. So how you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm good. I'm always busy. So I was just editing some video right before I got on this call with you guys. I got some books coming out this year. I got a documentary coming out this year. I'm teaching 2 classes this year, so I'm busy.
Wow, you are absolutely busy. Okay. Well, I mean, you just shared it, but we can get into it later as far as if you want to give any details of where people can find it, watch it, buy it.
Yeah, what is the documentary? Let's just ask them.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to start at the beginning and work out.
Well, yeah, but I'm just curious. She just threw out a movie. I was like, wow.
All right, let's go. Let's go for it.
It's a documentary. I don't know if it's a real movie.
I don't know if this is a real podcast.
Oh, we talked about this at the. Okay, that's funny.
It's real enough for me. So, it's a documentary about Black people and psychedelics.
Oh, that's right. We talked about this mushrooms.
Yeah, not just mushrooms, but yeah. So I got like 24 heavy hitters, Black heavy hitters in the psychedelic space together in September. And I got like 9 cameras going and mic'd everybody up and just had everybody talk about where they've been, where they're at, where they're going. Super, super dope. Everybody had a good time. And now I've been spending since then till now just editing video.
Wow.
So wait, how many people were in the room?
9.
No,
9?
Like no, 24.
24 or 9 cameras.
24 and 9 cameras, and they're all tripping?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
I thought you put them all in a room and drugged them and like, let's just watch.
What is this, the big brother of psychedelics?
No. Maybe they were, and they just didn't tell me. Nah, these are just cats who are like therapists, like Black therapists who deal with mushrooms, like doctors who deal with psychedelics,
like prescribe them.
Yeah, prescribe them,
Wow.
and they just have their own, like, sometimes spiritual, religious traditions with them, sometimes recreational traditions with them. Got some business folks in there who are like working with like testing and stuff. Had this like whole crew of just dope ass folks together.
Wow.
And yeah, we just talked about it because let's like if you see like psychedelics now, it's usually some like 70s like hippie white dude who's like 75 now, and he's like, this changed the way I think about my mother, and I'm like, nobody cares. Like, I don't care. I'm like far more interested in what like younger people, what people of color, like what queer people, like all these different people, how we experience this whole thing, especially when it's like becoming more legal and like gray areas of legality, even those fools have done time for like mushrooms and shit like that. So I'm sorry, can I swear on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
Yeah, I curse all the time. I'm throwing out F-bombs.
Reggie? Oh snap.
It is surprising.
Dude, it's Well, you know how it is, man. When I get upset, oh, you
Oh,
maybe you don't
square
know.
ass, Reg.
Oh shit, there you
I
go.
didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You didn't say
That was
that.
him.
Don't worry, he'll
It's
get
his
it
own
later.
joke. It's his own bit.
Yeah, man. I'll drop an F-bomb in a minute, man. I get going before you know it. I'm like, these motherfuckers, man. I swear to God, I wanted to kill something, you know. So yeah, so it's okay, man. You can say we're adults.
Does your doc have a title yet?
Yeah, it's called A Table of Our Own.
Okay.
You can check out some of the footage, tableofourown.org. Yeah, we're still putting it together. Maybe one or two more shoots that I got to do, but
Is there any reference to one of the most famous African Americans who dealt in psychedelics, Mr. Jimi Hendrix?
himself? I mean, man, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, I thought I was like the spiritual love child of Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
Every time I heard Jimmy's voice, I was like, Papa? Like, I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. You know, no, I mean, you know, we actually didn't talk about Jimmy that much. Just because, no offense, but like these white boys in the psychedelic space, that's the only thing they talk about. I'm like, black people in psychedelics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
There's more.
What a stereotype of me.
No.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
I'm not nobody. It's too early for that.
No, Sal actually jumped in front of the bullet.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a picture on the wall. It's not like
And to his credit, the guy loves Jimi Hendrix. He has a Homer Simpson Jimi Hendrix tattoo.
I've been to his grave in Seattle.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm deep into Jimmy. Like I keep trying to explain to people that he is a blues man first and foremost.
For sure. His blues, some of his blues tracks are the best, man.
They did this. It was an independent release with this comic book. I don't know if you've seen it. Bill Sienkiewicz did a comic book of Jimi Hendrix, and they released this like 6-track CD with it. That's just
I think I might have it.
Yeah,
hold on. You keep up, Reg. We can edit this. I gotta find this.
He's like, I'll be back.
Yeah, he didn't know like this right now for him, dude. You being into Jimmy, this dude is hardcore Jimmy. So he's super excited right now.
Oh man. I literally had 6 months where all I listened to was Jimi Hendrix.
Really? I didn't get into Jimmy, you know my story. I grew up in Alabama. I was a sports guy. So, you know, I wasn't really into the music scene like that. It was until later as an adult that I was kind of like, okay, let me check out Jimmy.
Is this it?
That's it.
Dude, this shit is awesome. Like I found this in a bookstore once and then I looked through it. I was like, it's great. And I know the story very well and they cover it really well for a comic book.
Yeah.
But, and then I couldn't find it forever. And then, oh yeah, my girlfriend found it for me somewhere online like years ago. But yeah, and this little acoustic CD, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like, Voodoo Child.
They should have just done that. Like they should have just released that track, like that album on its own.
Yeah, that's true. And I think this was before like his family even had rights to it. So I don't even know who put it out. So you probably can't even get it. But wow, thank you for letting me dive in for that.
No, man, I'm all about the Jimmy, like the action, like if people really know Jimmy and not just like, you know, I had this whole lecture about like Jimmy doing the national anthem because I used to teach kids, and I was like, is this disrespectful or is this like claiming it, right? Like kids are 50-50. I'm like, Jimmy, like served in the military, like he actually like felt himself as an American,
right?
And this was him and his American expression of the national anthem, right? It's not like any national anthem you've ever heard of, but to me that just makes it better.
Yeah, he's there's a famous clip of him on a talk show right after he did it, and he was talking, and they were asking about it. And he's like, "What controversy?" He's like, "I thought it was beautiful, man."
Exactly. It's the only one out there for.
I mean, do you get more patriotic than serving in the U.S. military?
Yeah, right. I mean,
like, do you have any more right than someone who's actually done the thing than to express how you feel about the thing? What's crazy,
like Jimmy was stationed kind of over in the South there, and then he broke his ankle or something in the military, and so then he just left. Like he got discharged and he was right there in like the blues area in Tennessee. And that's and then he met Billy Cox in the military, who eventually was his bass player. So it was like a whole, man, he is strange. It's a great story he has.
Yeah. I love the stuff with him and Little Richard's being like, there's only one star in this fucking
Yeah.
Wait, there's only one star in this what?
He's like, there's only 1 star in this review, and it's me. Kick rocks, Jimmy. I don't know what you're doing back there.
So in the beginning, Jimmy used to like for the Isley Brothers and Little Richard, he was backup. But then Jimmy would want to do more stuff, and they're like, nah, it's better Little Richard. He's like, nah, I'm the guy.
Yeah.
I kicked out.
It was great.
It's great. I mean,
like,
there was rumors too that Little Richard was making passes at Jimmy, but maybe, who knows?
Of course. Come on. Of course.
How could you not?
You know? Okay, so wait, I know what you're supposed to talk about me, but Sal, just a quick question. What did you think about that John Ridley, Andre 3000 movie about Jimmy?
Okay, so it's funny. I thought he did amazing, Andre 3000. I thought he did it well in his part, and that is an interesting time. That story is so interesting how that woman really helped him, where like she was one of the guys' girlfriend, one of the Rolling Stones, and then he got the manager in, and but then like I was looking up the whole thing of him beating the woman with the phone really bothered me, and then you look it up, and then some people were like, that never happened. The woman herself says it never happened. Now there are stories of Jimmy hitting women, where like a lot of rock stars in the 70s, I imagine, in the 60s did. So and the one thing, and with a lot of these documentaries, what sucks most about them is they can't play his actual music, and that's what he's most known for. Though one of my favorite moments in rock and roll history is when Jimi Hendrix blows Eric Clapton off the stage with Killing Floor, and they show it in the movie, and that's fucking awesome.
Right.
I mean, Reggie, this is one of the most amazing things. Like Eric Clapton was considered, like in England, they call him God. That was his nickname. Clapton is God was written all over the place.
King.
Yeah. So then Jimmy came in, and this British manager that this woman hooked him up with, Chaz Chandler, who used to be bass player of the Animals, is like, here's Eric Clapton, and he goes, I want to jam with him. And they're like, the fuck? Like this black dude from America? You don't know who the hell you think you're going to jam with? Clapton goes up there, starts jamming the song, and Clapton got so flipped out that he walked off the stage because that's how good Jimi Hendrix was. Fucking blew him off.
And here's what it is I think is really freaking interesting about it, right? Because at the time, the UK is finally getting these like reissues and like newly discovered old blues guys, right? And they're hearing them and oh, this is dope. I want to do this, right? But Jimmy, having met these cats, right, having played backup with these cats,
that's
like,
right.
I got this, but when you take this up to date, it sounds like this. And they were like
a mashup. Right.
Not even a mashup, it's a progression. It's
progression. Progression. Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, wait. Shit, you mean we should have been innovating off of this? He's like, yeah, baby. You know, they just didn't know what to do with them. And so it was like, Clapton was like, fuck, I've been aping BB King. I've been aping Elmore James. I've been aping all these freaking people. And now this cat has freaking evolved this stuff, putting a synth on it, putting some pedals on it, putting some reverb on it. Shit, man, I recognize it, but I can't do it. You know, and I'm just
right.
That's how you Jimmy. That's how you Jimmy something. You know,
that's how you Jimmy something.
I mean, remember, like the Beatles dropped the Sgt. Pepper, and then literally 2 days later, the Beatles were at a Jimmy show, and he fucking covered their opening song, Sgt. Pepper. They're like, this just dropped, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and then the other band members didn't even know. He's like, I got this.
Okay, I'm talking to a Jimmy man. All right, we're good.
We good. One thing, just ask you, what'd you think of the movie? Would you like it? What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was really, I thought it was a really interesting like project. You know, like anything creative where like you have to deal with limitations. Like it comes up, and so that limitation of not having the music, and then it was like Andre didn't try. Like I think. Like there's some cats from that time, Jimi Hendrix, Miles Davis, a few other folks, whose voices are so distinct, right? The way they speak, their cadence, their what, you know, like, and Andre just let that go. Like he was like, I'm not really trying to do that. Okay. I'm like, so what is this then? What is a Jimi Hendrix movie without Jimmy's music and without Jimmy's voice?
Right.
Right.
And I think in that John Ridley did a really interesting job.
I mean, it is tough when you don't have the music and stuff.
But like you said, he had a very distinct sound, like his voice, right?
Yeah.
At least trying to get that recreates at least some resemblance of him to some degree, right?
Andre 3000 didn't try, or if he did, I didn't recognize
or he
him.
failed miserably. Either
Right.
he didn't try or he failed miserably.
I don't
right?
think he. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just giving Andre too much, but like I don't think he failed. I think he made a decision. You know.
Oh, okay.
And I think that was a really interesting thing about that movie, just the type of decisions that were made.
Yeah.
It was small budget, you know, shot.
Yeah. Very short period of time in its history.
Yeah. Right. It's just get your shot. I mean, I like unique shit like that.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a weirdo. I like the project that doesn't like. It's not like the hero beating the bad guy. That's the end. Like not everything needs to be a Marvel movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some things can be.
Amen.
Yeah.
Before he's wearing a Hulk shirt, I love it.
Yeah. Right. Before we move on, I want to ask you about this because you mentioned Janis Joplin.
Yes.
Right. So you're a huge fan of Janis Joplin as well, I imagine.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So my only question is this. Once again, I only know Janis later. Like I didn't get into any of her stuff until later. But there was a point where I was listening to her, and it sounded like just her voice, right? The kind of gravelly, raspy type of deal. But there were some points where it felt like she was really pushing it. Do you think that she would have been able to sustain that level of singing? Huh? Absolutely. Okay.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay, I didn't think so either. I didn't think so either. I thought it was too harsh on the vocal cords, and eventually she would lose her voice or lose that ability to hit some of those notes, right?
Here's the interesting thing with Janis, right? From Port Arthur, Texas, right? Like, so like just deep in the South, all of her influences, all of her major female singing influences were Black women. And they were big Black women. Right. Mama Thornton, like, you know, these like heavy set guitar playing, you know, schooled in gospel, like, you know, went to rock and roll because that was the thing that they could, you know, get a little money, right? And so they had these big old, you know how big Black women sound. You know?
Yeah.
And then you have little, very, very little Janis Joplin who's trying to match that energy while she's drunk and high.
Yeah.
Right. So what she's giving,
right.
And this is why I love her, she is giving 100% of what she has whenever she's performing to try and match that big Black woman energy all the time. And you can see it when she performs.
Right.
And it's not an aping. It's not like she's trying to sound like somebody else. She's just like, if that's your model, you aim for your model.
Right.
You know what I mean? So she was just like, you know, right? Like, she's not just hurt. She's not like, I'm a little cry baby. No, like she's got to get this big energy going.
Right.
And it's gonna burn you out. Yeah, it's gonna mess you up.
I mean, I've seen Bob Dylan, you know, as he's older, he doesn't even sound the same.
Yeah, I hate Bob Dylan with a passion. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've never gotten Bob Dylan. I have tried.
Well, hey, Jimmy fan, you know Jimmy's biggest hit ever was a Bob Dylan song.
I understand.
Which is crazy. But Jim, that was another thing. I love when guys take a song like that and then make it their own. Like Jimmy totally did with that, or Whitney did with I'll Always Love You.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny. I was talking about this the other day. During that time, well, even prior to that, there was a time period where people would hear someone's version of a song or hear their song, and then it felt like they would go, I could do that better. And they would do it better like in 2 weeks, right? Like the song just come out, and then they would take that song and they do it better. And Aretha Franklin and Otis Redding, right? Like, and countless others. Right.
Well, it's funny you were talking about aping styles. I mean, Bob Marley did I Shot the Sheriff, and that same year Eric Clapton released I Shot the Sheriff.
And which one was better?
Oh yeah, because not even close.
It's not even close.
Leave that one alone, but you know.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, if you really want to hear that, like those old like 60s Jamaican versions of like R&B songs.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? And then you're like, oh, okay, sitting on the dock of the bay. Okay, I didn't know that's what that was until I was three quarters of the way into it. Thanks for A&B or whoever, you know what I mean? Like, Jamaicans were like, "There's no rules over here. We're gonna record what we record, what we like."
Right. All right,
Man, that's
I
great.
guess we could get it. Well, wait, I'll tell one quick Janice thing. Janice did Monterey Pop 1967, right? At the same time, Jimmy lit his guitar. And Janice blew the crowd away so much during the day that they invited her band back the next day to perform again that night, which was like unheard of in a 3-day festival, you know?
My question was always this: who did they bump?
Yeah, right. That's
You know what
funny.
I mean? Like-
You know the
That's
story
it.
with Jimmy here, right? At Monterey with the Who, and they argued backstage of
Oh,
who was
yeah.
gonna follow who, and then the Who is like because they smashed all their instruments, and then
Right.
Jimmy supposedly got up on some table, played a blues riff. It was like, all right, I'll follow you guys, but I'm pulling out all the stops, and that's
Right.
when he lit the whole guitar on fire. Oh,
You want to play
amazing.
games? You want to
Yeah,
destroy?
yeah.
You can destroy shit, you know?
Yeah.
The thing that people don't understand is like all that crazy shit that like Jimmy was doing, playing the guitar with his teeth, playing it behind his head. That's all early 60s, like late 50s rock and roll, like Southern rock and roll.
Right, right. The Chitlin Circuit kind of stuff too.
Exactly, like the BB King stuff, right?
Yeah.
They were all doing that, you know. So
and Jimmy caught shit for that, for being like gimmicky, trying to be the white man's music and shit. It was crazy.
That's the heartbreak for me for Jimmy, where it's just like in his lifetime, he never got the love from Black audiences in America that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He had to go to the UK.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if he had lived a little longer, maybe he would have gotten it. But honestly, like, you know, even when he was some of his biggest hits, you know, Black folks were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Right.
Like, what you doing?
Yeah. He was too far ahead for him. He was too advanced.
It was
yeah. You know, and honestly, man, that speaks to a whole nother thing as far as like Black people in perspective and being open. You know, obviously, you grew up in New York. I grew up in the South. Sal grew up in the Midwest. You know, people can be closed-minded. They're just not open, right? Like if it's not familiar to them, then there's almost not a willingness to even be open to seeing what it's about sometimes. And with that, then we miss out on a lot of different things. But that's, you know, that's real deep on a whole nother level, I'm sure.
No. I mean, that's exactly, you know, this documentary, right? Like about Black people and psychedelics. I always say like one of the biggest hindrances to Black people doing psychedelics is not seeing other Black people doing psychedelics.
Right.
Like if it's
having preconceived ideas about it, right?
Because everything that comes in that's new is like, that's some white people shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like I can see him saying about Jimmy.
Tofu, fucking like latte, like oat milk latte. You know, like if you introduce it to a white person in the US, there's some Black people are gonna be like, nah, they're trying to kill me. Right. And look, half the time they're not wrong, you know, historically. Right. So once you see Black people being like, oh no, this, you know, instead of drinking cow milk, I drink this nut milk and it's better for my body, whatever. All of a sudden you're giving access to Black people to be like, oh, okay, now let me experiment with it. I think the thing with Jimmy and in the 70s definitely is like, it can't just be one. Like you can't just have like one token because like all you need is one. Right. You need to have a crew, a community, a group of people that are like engaging in that new thing. Right. Black people that are engaging in that new thing for another community to be able to accept it and move forward. Right. You're the one Black dude surrounded by like, you know, take it away from white people. Like if you're one Black dude just surrounded by like a bunch of Asian people, and then you come out and you're like, yo, tofu's great. You're just gonna be like, oh, that's that tofu eating nigga. Right. Like that, you know, like right? But then if you have like, you know, a crew of Black people eating like, okay, so my dad's a perfect example. My dad.
Wait, hold up, you got a dad? Damn.
I know,
lucky, bro. You lucky.
Well, you ready?
Okay, here we go.
He just got out of jail after 37 years.
Yo, props to him, man. 30, good, congratulations. Yo, that's huge, man. I mean, it's messed up that he was in there in the first place, but he got out. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So 37
we gotta interview him.
If you want. I mean, I don't know if he'll do it, but so his 37. His name is Tupac Shakur. So he's a political prisoner.
Okay.
You've heard his name before. It's because he raised Tupac.
So Shut up. That's your dad?
That's my dad.
Yeah, I was gonna say Shakur. That's your dad. Wait, hold up. Your dad, but he wasn't Tupac's dad, or he is Tupac's dad. Are you?
You know, it's like whoever raised you, that's your dad.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
so that's
but not biologically. But not biologically. Because I'm about to be like, yo, I didn't know you and Tupac were like half
Well,
So
brothers.
Tupac would have been older than you.
Yeah.
No. Oh
yeah.
yeah, just a little bit though, right?
Few years.
Okay.
But no, so Pac actually grew up hearing my name. Because me and Pac's sister share our father, like our biological.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So my little sister, when she was growing up, she'd be pissed and she'd be like, "You're not my real brother. Ayize is my real brother. I'm gonna go find him and I'm not gonna live with you." And da 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 da.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo,
But yeah, it's crazy.
hold up, just for the record, real quick. I gotta say this, yo, Sal. I had no idea, bro. Like,
That's
this is
amazing.
all-
So have you?
this is
Did you
awesome.
hang out? Did you know him as a kid? Did you never met him?
No, I'll tell you my one Pac experience.
Okay.
So my mom kept me separate from all of them crazy revolutionaries. Just to do the real quick with my dad thing. The reason I brought him up was, he was like, before other shit, what he was really known for was bringing acupuncture to the South Bronx and Harlem to help people get off heroin addiction.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
huge, bro. Yeah.
And so he like started this thing called the 5-point ear technique, which is used to help people get off of opioids. And the thing was like, it was this clinic and like guys who were coming out of jail, coming back from Vietnam, you come get that technique. Once you're detoxed, if you want to, you can learn that technique and then go needle other people as well.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
So again, you can't just have one black dude doing that, right? Like you,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like being
Wow.
like, oh, this is what we
Yeah.
need,
Your dad's the Jimmy of acupuncture.
He would love that. I talked to him about himself a bippy. He's like, I was a bippy back in the day. I was like, a what? He's like, a black hippie. But so my one Tupac experience was I'm from New York, but I had been like going like in and out of the country, like Morocco and stuff. And I came back home and my friends were like, yo, they're shooting this movie over across from your mom's job. You should come. And I was like, all right, sure, whatever. And so I go, and I didn't grow up, as you can tell, if I start with Jimmy, I liked hip hop, of course, but I wasn't like big in hip hop. Like, I remember when like everybody was a gangster, and I'm like, I'm not a gangster, dude. Like,
Right.
It's like I'm not a guy, you know.
And you were in New York though. Harlem, New York is like the mecca of hip hop, where it all began, right?
Yeah, but it's also like mecca for like punk, you know. For
Right.
A lot of different. So I was a punk kid. I was CBGBs like every weekend.
Wow. You like the Ramones and shit? My man,
exactly,
this dude.
exactly.
Jimmy and the Ramones? Come on.
How do you not, right? The Animals, right? Like I was even like Black Flag, like like you know, Bad Brains, like all
Bad
of it.
Brains.
That was my shit, right?
Okay.
So, and then at that time I was doing a little more like drum and bass and jungle and stuff like that. But so I go and see my friends and they're shooting above the rim.
Oh.
So
wow.
I'm like chilling. I'm like, they're like, okay, look, we're shooting a scene right now. Once the scene is over, you guys can cross over. You go in those stands and you sit there. And I was like, all right, cool. So I'm waiting and like, all right, you guys can go. And I'm trying to find my friends. And they're like, yo, Ayize. And I was like, oh, okay. And then Pac just goes, Ayize. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, because you heard all the stories about Pac, but you know, it was like he got shot and he was beefing with the, you know, called out Mob Deep and be like, hey, one of y'all niggas got sickle cell or something. I was like, God damn, like you just loud and violent in them, you know. So I was like, he's like, Ayize. And I'm like, fuck. I don't know who he is. I don't know this connection about my dad. I didn't know who my dad was till I was 25. I was like 19.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm walking.
And Pac knew about you.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So he comes up to me and he's like, you know who I am? And I'm like, yeah. I know who you are. And he's like, all right, you good? I'm like,
oh, that's funny. Hold up. This is talk about communication. He's asking, do you know who I am, in reference to his dad, your dad?
Yeah.
But you're like, yes, I know who you are. You're the artist, Tupac, the rapper.
Right. Wow.
Right? And he's like, yo, we good?
Though. A violent thug. You know what I mean? Like, again, like you remember when Pac was like alive?
Oh yeah. No,
that was pretty hardcore.
I mean, the shooting in Atlanta with the cops, and then there's a whole thing with the girl, and then Rikers.
Just,
I mean, that stuff came a little bit later.
That famous shot of him walking out of that courthouse.
Yeah,
Exactly.
man. In the
By the
wheelchair in
courtroom.
Quad City Studios and getting shot. Like there was a lot going on. There was a lot going on.
Fire. And I'm like, I just came back from Morocco where I was spinning drum and bass in jungle. Oh, hello, how are you doing there, Mr. Shakur? You know, like I'm just not like I don't want no smoke. I'm like,
Right.
I know who you are. Like, we're good. And he's like,
Right.
you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, okay. And I was like, cool. I went and sat up. They were like, how you know Tupac? I'm like, I don't know Tupac.
Oh,
Like,
How you know
wow.
your name? I'm like, I don't know. Like, leave me alone.
Wow,
You know?
dude. Oh, this is crazy.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
That's crazy. So basically, if there was any beef between you and he, because that's basically who he was asking about, like, yo, we good? Like, is there a problem? Right?
Or maybe I thought because he was looking out if he considered him fam, and then he's like, I'll help you out
Yeah,
if you need it.
I don't know. We good? I mean, it's one thing. If we fam, it come up and you like, yo, what's
I
up?
mean,
Like, that's the
Ayize
whole
knows
thing.
he was there. How did it sound?
I mean, I'll say, and like at the time, I was so freaked out. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Hold on, this is my dog. Just with his squeaky toy. Stop it.
Really, you're scared of Tupac, huh? Dog squeaky toy.
Oh, I think what it was is like he was, because like, you know, after he died, that was when I connected with the family and everything, and And like, I'm never trying to live in anybody else's shadow or make like
Right.
a bones off of anybody else's shit. You know,
Right.
like that was him, that was me. You know, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to know him, but like it is what it is.
Right.
But then I asked my sister one time, I was like, do you think he would have liked me? And she was like, yeah, because you do your own thing. She's like, you know,
Right.
that's, you know, like that was his thing. Like he didn't like, you know, dick riders. Like he was
Right.
just like, oh, like if you're doing yours and I'm doing mine and we got crossover, like I heard he was hurt beyond hurt. He wanted to use Phil Collins In the Air Tonight, a sample from that. And Phil Collins let him use it.
Yeah. It was like, no.
It hurt his feelings. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't seen as an artist from this
Right.
guy. Like, you know what I mean? So he was like that kind of cat. So I think really, like those who knew Pac, like, and he liked, like they knew he'd take a bullet for them.
Right.
So I think he was just kind of assessing it and just being like, yo, like, we good? Like, are you know? And I was like, I don't know what he read from me other than like this nigga's confused. But, and also you have to understand, I had a blonde mohawk.
Oh man, we got to get some pictures, bro.
It was a different time for Ayize. It was a different time.
Man, that's awesome though. That's awesome. You know, real quick.
So wait, you met Tupac and you had a blonde mohawk at the time?
And he's like, yo, we good?
He's should have been like,
you should be like, yo, are we good? Right? Yeah. I'm the one with the blonde. I'm a black dude with a blonde mohawk. Are we good? Apparently, I'm the crazy one here, right? No, check it out though, real quick. You mentioned Phil Collins.
Yeah.
I wish that Pac had lived long enough to see this, because Phil Collins doesn't seem to be open to anyone using his music. Because when Puffy used it, or P. Diddy back then used it for, I think it was a Godzilla soundtrack.
Yeah.
I forget what, right? It was whatever song he created with Phil Collins' song. They use it without his permission. And so they get nothing. He was like, no, I want that. He got all the proceeds. He got all the revenue, everything that was made. Jeez. Bad Boy didn't see a penny of that, because Phil Collins was like, no, because they went to him afterwards like, yo, can we use this? He was like, nah. Like, well, we already did. He's like, okay, well, now it's mine.
More money.
And so I don't even know if it's so much that Phil Collins didn't see Pac as a peer or an equal, as much as he was like, yo, my thing is my thing, and can't nobody have it, or anybody else for that matter.
I think,
right.
I mean, and this goes back to Jimmy, because everything goes back to Jimmy as far as I'm concerned.
What would Jimmy say?
Yeah.
But like,
what would Jimmy do?
There was this, there's a seminal Miles Davis album called Bitches Brew, which is like, just flips jazz on its head at the time, right? Like no one is doing these huge concept albums that are abstract before, really, right? Miles Davis like gets in a fight with his like recording company. Like there's a note, you can see it online. It says, Mr. Davis wants to title his new album Bitches Brew. Please advise. Right? What the fuck is he doing, right? It's a 2 CD compo, which is like insane at the time. Jimi Hendrix was supposed to be on Bitches Brew. Yeah. And Jimmy died right before it, and it fucked Miles up. Because Miles loved Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, I think Jimmy loved him too. Jimmy always trying to do some jazz stuff.
Like some mutual respect, huh?
Yeah.
Right. That, like, I see you as the innovator that I believe myself to be.
Mm-hmm.
Can we collab?
Oh man.
Say
Can you
whatever,
imagine?
You know, that's what I mean. That's my fantasy album. Say whatever you want about Phil Collins. Phil Collins is an excellent storyteller. He is a phenomenal songwriter. I don't care if you like his voice or whatever. How he puts a song together is amazing. You can say not all of Pac's shit. I think some of Pac's shit shouldn't have been released, but a lot of his stuff, it's an excellent storyteller. Right? So I think that's what Pac was looking for. He's like, I've learned from you, and I want to collaborate with you. With and again, this is all speculation. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's fun. One thing about Pac and Jimmy, they both spent endless hours in the studio. And that was another bummer about Jimmy. He finally built Electric Ladyland in New York, and then he really died before he got to use it. And it's still there. Like when I went to New York, I just walked. I was like, they're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Can I walk around and check it out? This is Hendrix's thing." And they're like, "That people recorded. You can't just." I was like, "Oh, I'm a big fan. What do you want?"
I tried.
I went to
Exactly.
Cafe Wall.
The most they can say
discovered.
is no.
I'm doing my Jimmy tour here.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love about Sal. Honestly, right now in this moment, that's one of the things I love about Sal, because Sal is that guy. Like, can I do the thing? Like, no, okay. Well, I just asked. I'm just trying to see. Right?
Like,
yeah, I was like, there's no stopping me. I'm like, I'm going right in there. I mean, I've been reading about that thing for all my life. you know. Yeah. All right, well, let's get into this. Come on, we got an author here. We're not even talking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Well, no, but this is spitballing right now.
Yeah, actually, we spitballing for sure.
Based on this, we could really bring you back for a part 2 if we wanted to continue.
All right, here's his books, man. So
there's one more. There's a few more that are out. I might need my website people to update my thing, but yeah.
Okay. How many books you got total?
Right now,
like out, yeah.
6.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's 2 missing, and then there's 2 more that are coming out this year.
Okay, so
and the documentary.
Exactly.
Man, you hustling.
You busy, bro.
Yeah, this is impressive.
I've read The Liminal People, which I loved. I thought that was great, right? And I'm probably halfway through The Liminal War. I haven't finished it yet. I've had it for a while, but I haven't finished it yet. So, I mean, these are obviously sci-fi. I'm not going to give anything away because I want people to read them, but these are people with powers, right? And they're not superheroes. They're not like, it's not like Marvel superheroes, but they have powers. They can do different things, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, if I gave you the ability to like turn invisible, like, I'm pretty sure Reggie would be a superhero. Sal, I just met you. I don't know if you'd be a superhero. I'll tell you this much.
I might look out for me.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's real life out here. No matter what, it's still real life. You can't expect that just because somebody has powers, they're going to be out there trying to help people.
They're going to be good, right?
Right.
Thinking bad, it's just like a whole different morality and a whole different like thing. So that's kind of what that first book is really exploring, of like, well, what happens if people just have different abilities that like they don't need to
powers
on, right? They don't have to be tripping on like, security. Like, they're like, we've got this. Okay, so now, and
right. Now this is a trilogy, The Liminal People. It's based on a trilogy.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay, good.
It's a quartet.
Ooh,
yeah.
And all 4 of them are out.
As of February 16th, yes, all of them will be out.
And that's the final one. Is the final chapter?
Yep.
What's that one called?
Heroes of an Unknown World.
Okay. Wow, man. This is wow. So you originally intended to be 4 books?
No, I intended it to be 1 book that So okay, so because this is about creativity, right?
Right. And then this is very interesting to me because you self-published that first book, which is one of the hardest things to do. Any comic who tries to do that, self-publish their own video or whatever special, it's so hard. And a lot of people like, you're not famous, no one knows you. Why would you take the risk? How the hell you do it? Like that's, I mean, and you're doing something unheard of, like sci-fi, Black history, like you know what I mean? So yeah, please educate us.
I mean, I'll tell you quite honestly, I made every mistake possible self-publishing. Do not look to me as a model for self-publishing. There are people, my publicist, she self-published these romance novels for herself. She wrote like one every other month for like, you know, a year and a half and made a shitload of money.
Holy shit.
Like yeah, I mean, look, if you want to learn how to self-publish, hit the romance market up and the romance supernatural. Man, okay, they had on freaking Amazon these Kindle books, and it was like Sasquatch Love or like Bigfoot. I'm not even lying. You think I'm making
Sasquatch Love?
Yes, man, Bigfoot love stories about like.
Hey man, look, Bigfoot need love too, though. I get it. I get it.
And he was getting it. Like he was like, because all you need is a sexy cover of a hairy ass dude that looked like Bigfoot and some blonde woman running in the woods. And you put that on your cover of your Kindle book for $1.99, it'll get bought for the cover alone.
Dude, hold up though. That speaks to some deeper psychosis, right? Like seriously, that's blurring the lines of like what you can and can't do and what's legal and illegal, right?
So really good point, right?
Yo.
Because I think a lot of people are conditioned to play in the lines.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What can I do? What can't I do? You can't self-publish. You can't do this. You can't do that. Right?
Right.
If you play in those boundaries, you will get the benefits of being in the boundaries.
Okay.
If you play outside those boundaries, you may get benefits you haven't seen before. Now you open yourself up to more risk.
Right.
But your reward can also be equally unimaginable.
Right.
So when I first started, like I was doing the traditional way, and this was back when like you didn't send a book out to multiple agencies. You sent it to one at a time, and you waited to hear back from them. So
that's a long time, I imagine.
That's a long time. Yeah, and then there's no competition there's no competitiveness at that in the moment, right?
So people are getting give me one. Can you guys just give me 1 second?
Oh yeah,
No problem.
your delivery guy.
Yeah, just give me one.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
No worries.
Yo, Sal, I'm gonna tell our audience this. You're probably gonna cut it out. I know that's pretty cool, dude. I remember, I'm gonna tell you the audience right now watching and listening, before we started, because I know Ayize, Sal was like, I'm gonna let you run point on this one. You run point on this one. I'll let you lead, right? And then I'll interject here and there. And the moment my man threw out Jimi Hendrix, Sal was
and Tupac, Jimmy and Tupac are two of my favorite musicians.
Right? Sal's like, yo, I got this, which is awesome. I love it, man. This is so great.
I love like chopping Jimmy with someone else who knows all the Jimmy deets, and then you just see like all the story, you know.
Right.
And it's the same thing like he was saying. It's all like underdog stuff. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to be that, and here it is, and it's a success.
And that is so you. Who do I talk? I always talk
except
about
the success part.
Well, you're there. You're getting there, right? But remember, I always talk about how you identify with the underdog. Like that is your thing. You're like,
well, that's Cleveland, yeah.
That's Cleveland. And I'm always like, yo, not that I don't identify with the underdog. I understand the plight of the underdog, but I'm also that guy who's like, yo, if we're on a run and we're doing something that's never been done before, I want to keep it going. If no one has won 6 in a row, let's go for 6. If no one's won 7, let's go for 7. I'm like, I want to see, because there's a level of excellence that you have to perform at, right? There's a standard that you have to perform at consistently to be able to accomplish that, because everyone is jockeying for you. Everyone's gunning for you. Everyone's giving you their best every single time you show up, because you have been so good for so long. I always want to see the people.
Oh, I should have played your music during that, Reg. I'm sorry. If you wanted, I should have played your inspirational music.
So
I was like, what is Reggie talking about? He's passionate.
He goes off, dude. He goes off.
I'm gonna tell you what I was talking about, and I won't repeat the whole thing, but it was basically
Wait,
the
hold on. I
perspective.
gotta find
No,
what
no,
was
no,
your
no.
music called?
Oh boy.
I
Okay,
can't
here we go.
find it now.
Okay.
Shit. No, well.
Okay, so what I was talking about was just the perspective of the person who identifies with the underdog and the person who identifies with the front runner, or the guy, you know, the front runner. And I was saying that I can understand the perspective. I can understand the perspective of the guy who identifies or supports the underdog. I do. I understand that we live in a society today where a lot of people feel like they're behind the 8 ball and they're struggling to get ahead, and they see themselves as the underdog. But sometimes I believe that there's something to be said about supporting and understanding the plight of the 1%. Not the 1%. The front runner. You know why? Because when you perform at an excellent level, at a top tier level all the time, everyone's gunning for you. Everybody's looking to knock you off that pedestal. And what do you have to do? You have to meet and exceed that challenge every single day. There's a level of consistency that you must attain to be the one at the end who's standing at the top of the pedestal. And to do that repeatedly, that's my goal, is to be that dude, right? So I understand the underdog. And I say keep fighting.
You need a better button on the end of that, Reg.
I don't know.
And I'll say, just me personally, fuck the pedestal.
Well, yeah,
Right.
like the mountain, the
Yeah, I mean, because that's a trap. I feel like that's a trap, right?
By all means.
Because like when you are the underdog, there are other underdogs with you, and you are struggling together.
Okay.
And if we go into this thing of pedestals, if we go into this thing of top tier, it is literally designed to separate us, right?
Right.
So that when you are you're the one on top, everybody focuses on the on top instead of the fact of like, fuck, dude, you're by yourself.
Right. Right.
Nothing gets done by ourselves. As human animals, solo, we die.
Yep. True.
Right?
We need
we
need community. We
need a herd,
we need contact, touch, right? Well, okay, just for the record, I was just speaking in terms of like I'm thinking I gotta no backpedaling. But I was speaking in terms, like, for me it's more about athletics, right? Because I'm like, when someone's competing, like Sal is always going for the underdog in games, right? You know, athletic events. For me, I like when Chicago was on their run of 3 in a row, I wanted to see 4 in a row. I wanted to see 5 in a row, right? Because I feel like you're still performing at such a high level that it takes a lot of mental fortitude, a lot of physical fortitude. It takes a lot of consistency and playing, because everyone is giving you their best all the time. Because I want to see things that have never happened before, right? Like, you know, the phrase "any given Sunday" comes about because, you know, on any given day you can be knocked off. Right.
That's why I like fights. That's why I like watching fights.
Yeah, exactly. And I understand the guy who's like, yo, if I catch him, if I hit that button just right, one time, today's my day, right? And I'm that dude, right? But I also like to see that dude where it's like, oh, he about to hit the button. Wow, right? Because that takes a level of like consistency and expertise to some degree, right? And maybe even luck, right?
Yeah. But I mean, there was a question I asked us a lot of like, what is the role of expertise when everybody can Google everything?
Amen.
Yeah, that's true too.
You know I like having a very smart guest, Reg. We usually just have these dumbass comics. So to have somebody who is like such a education,
I will not allow you to
refreshing.
insult our previous comics or guests, bro. Like,
come on, one of them showed me his balls the other day.
Hey, dude,
that's fine, dude.
Hey, dude, we can praise Ayize for. I mean, the guy has a master's in clinical psychology and theology, right? He's a black belt in Kajukenbo, which
where is that from? Kajukenbo, I haven't heard that. What country?
It's from Hawaii.
It's from Hawaii.
Get the hell out! Really, Hawaiians be fighting?
Yeah. No, it's
Hawaiians and Filipinos trying to figure out how to mess up USGI.
Yo, man. Yo, can I tell my Kajukenbo story? No, go
bunch
ahead.
of hollies.
Talk about it.
No, I want to talk about his books.
Well, I gotta share this with you. Because, and we'll come back to the books, but I gotta share this because now it's segued into one part. So Ayize and I met probably 2008, 2007, somewhere around there.
Right before he self-published.
Right. And Ayize was friends, or he was friends with a guy that I was really good friends with, a guy named Jamoki Horton that I've talked about here on the podcast in the past. So I met Ayize through Jamoki. Jamoki met Ayize first. They became friends. Moki and I are friends, and then I meet Ayize. I remember the first time I met him, it was in San Francisco on the boats, and and so and then we both lost Jay. So we have a mutual, like there's a bond between he and I based on that, right? But Moki was into Kajukenbo, and he got it from Nick Milas, right? So Moki was trying to invite me in. He was like, yo, man, you got to come check this out. Got to do this thing. So Nick and Jamoki take me and this other lady named Emily Murphy, who's a detective, who's a police officer in Berkeley. They take us to Vallejo, where they're training under a guy named Mitch, right? Mitch, as he's going through this, this art form, he's like, okay, so with this one, we focus on the eyes, the throat, the elbow, the wrist, the kneecap, the groin, the ankles. Like he's hitting all the joints. And he's like, when you go in with the thumb and you hit the eye, you're not trying to hit the eye, you're trying to hit the
back of the headphones.
Reggie knocked his headphones off.
He goes, when you try to hit, you're not trying to hit the eye, but you're trying to hit the back of the skull, right? Like when you're going in, that's your whole point, is to go in, right? And he goes, and at some point, once your opponent is down, then you got to stop, because then it can be excessive. And I'm sitting there with Emily watching this dude talk about all this stuff, and I was like, yo, this got to be like the most intense martial art form I've ever encountered in my life. Because he's like, yo, you don't just hit the throat, like you hit it here, and then you come here and you hit there, and the nerve in the armpit. I was like, yo, we killing people with this. This is not Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. This is not like, this fight is not intended to last, right? This is like, hey man, I don't want any problems. Boom, shot to the eye. Please leave me alone.
Are you a black belt in this?
Yes, I am.
So is this called Killing Kimbo? What is this?
Kajukenbo. And it was designed by little people who, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Karate, Jiu-Jitsu, Kempo, and Chinese and American boxing. So
Holy shit.
Wait, say that again for our audience and for me.
So karate, Jiu-Jitsu, Kempo, and Chinese and American boxing. So Kajukenbo.
Kajukenbo.
And then there's like events and tournaments you could watch of this.
So it's like the first kind of like mixed martial arts. So you'll find Kaju people in like lots of different events, like Muay Thai events, like any like mixed martial arts events. Some folks focus more on the wrestling stuff, so you can see them in like grappling competitions.
Jiu-jitsu stuff,
yeah.
This sounds very much Bruce Lee, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to get into that, because they say like, Taekwondo was like the first mixed martial art, and then some Kaju people were like, "Oh yeah," but I'm like, "Nah, I'm not fighting you." But I got to tell you my one like intense Kaju story.
Okay.
So I've been training forever. Well, I've been training for like 12 years or so. Bluey, what it? That's my dog.
Yeah.
So I've had shush it, puppy. So I've had friends come through and like, okay, I'm gonna put him in his cage if he keeps going.
I can barely hear him. Can you hear him?
Oh, okay.
No, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
You're good.
not
I
really.
can't even hear him. There, I heard him, but other than that, no.
He's fine. So I've had friends come through, people who are like, oh, I'm interested. And it's like what says is like, you can be very athletic and very like, you can do all the moves, but when there's that intensity that comes with it, some people just like, they're like, oh, that's too much. So I had this friend and she was like, super into it, super athletic, whatever. And Big Al was there. Al, he's like Kaju, like royalty.
Sadler. Yeah.
His uncle is like one of the first black belts in the art. Like, his uncle was one of the found, like, just right. So he's there, and there's like more women than men in class at the time. And Al says, I'll never forget this. He said, look, I don't never want to hear y'all saying, oh my God, I can't believe I got raped. I want to hear y'all say, oh my God, I can't believe I killed that dude that tried to rape me. One woman just broke down. She's like, I can't do it. I'm sorry. Al felt so bad. He was like, oh shit, was that too hard? I'm like, it's real. So I'm not gonna say it was too hard.
Right.
Oh,
It ain't built for everybody, but on one side, and I love this because on one side you got the lady who breaks down like, I can't believe this is too much for me, and then on the other end of the spectrum you got a woman who's like, yeah,
exactly,
show me that shit. That's what I'm trying to do. right? You try to take my humanity, I take your life. Right?
That concludes part 1 of our episode. Thanks for listening to Spitballin'. We'll catch you next week for the rest of our interview with Ayize.